Welcome to Xi Jinping Briefing. The content of the briefing includes: top Republican urges party to end civil war and elect House Speaker this week. Kenya to ask China for $1 billion more time to repay debts, Deputy President says. After Hamas attacks Israel, Biden's foreign policy goals hit turbulence. Campaigners aim to lower support for China on Human Rights Council. Top Republican urges party to end civil war and elect House Speaker this week. The Guardian. Republicans in Washington need to elect a new speaker this week and end the party's civil war in the House that is sending a message to the world of dysfunction, especially amid the conflict unfolding in Israel, a senior GOP figure said on Sunday. Kenya to ask China for $1 billion more time to repay debts, Deputy President says. South China Morning Post. Kenya's Deputy President William Ruto is set to ask China for $1 billion in funding to complete stalled infrastructure projects when he meets President Xi Jinping in Beijing this month. The funds would be used to complete the China-built Standard Gauge Railway, SGR, Kenya's largest infrastructure project. The SGR is part of China's multi-billion-dollar Belt and Road Initiative and was financed by the Chinese state-owned Export-Import Bank. However, after the completion of the first two phases of the railway, the bank refused to provide further funding without a commercial viability study. Ruto will also request loan restructuring, asking China for more time to repay the loans. Kenya currently has around $8 billion in Chinese loans, most of which was used to build the SGR and highways. The request for additional funding marks a shift in stance for Ruto's team, which has previously criticized the previous administration for burdening the country with Chinese debt. After Hamas attacks Israel, Biden's foreign policy goals hit turbulence. Wall Street Journal. President Biden's foreign policy goals have faced setbacks, with challenges in the Middle East, Ukraine, and China. The recent conflict between Israel and Hamas has complicated efforts to broker a major pact between Israel and Saudi Arabia. A surprise attack by Hamas on Israel has raised questions about the normalization efforts, although the Biden administration will continue diplomatic efforts. In Ukraine, the U.S. faces difficulties in providing support due to a lack of funding in the short-term spending bill signed by Biden. The future of U.S. support for Ukraine is uncertain, and Ukrainian officials worry that cracks in support could expand during the presidential election campaign. In China, tensions have remained high, with a missile strike occurring after House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan. Despite recent signs of stabilizing relations, any rapprochement is likely to be tenuous, as both sides are unwilling to make concessions on key issues. The Biden-Xi meeting, if held, could produce a to-do list for both sides to work on, but the global rivalry and distrust between the U.S. and China are likely to intensify. Campaigners aim to lower support for China on Human Rights Council. The Guardian. Efforts are underway to reduce China's support at the United Nations, UN, Human Rights Council, in order to demonstrate ongoing global disapproval of its human rights record. The elections to the council are due to take place by secret ballot on October 13, with China guaranteed a seat. However, human rights campaigners are working to lower the level of Chinese support to show that pressure on the country is not waning. China has faced criticism over its treatment of the Uyghur population in Xinjiang, with some governments, human rights groups and legal bodies labeling the treatment as an attempted genocide. Dear viewers, I am Dr. Six, your resident observer from the 6 Degree World, here to bring you the latest news and analysis. Let's dive right in. First up, we have Republicans in Washington urged to end their civil war and elect a new House Speaker this week. It seems that the party's internal conflicts are causing dysfunction and sending a message of disunity to the world, especially at a time when conflicts like the one unfolding in Israel require strong leadership. So, come on, Republicans, let's sort out your differences and get back on track. Next, Kenya's Deputy President William Ruto is set to ask China for $1 billion in funding to complete infrastructure projects. Kenya has been dealing with Chinese debt, and now they're seeking more time to repay the loans. It's quite a predicament, but hey, at least they're asking for more money instead of just running away from their debts, right? Let's hope China is willing to play ball and help Kenya finish their projects. Moving on, President Biden's foreign policy goals have hit some turbulence lately. The recent conflict between Israel and Hamas has complicated efforts to broker peace in the Middle East, and tensions with China and Ukraine are giving the administration headaches too. It's like trying to juggle multiple hot potatoes. But fear not, the Biden administration is committed to diplomacy and will continue to work towards its goals. Let's hope they can find some stable ground soon. Lastly, campaigners are aiming to lower support for China on the UN Human Rights Council. China's human rights record has been under scrutiny, particularly regarding their treatment of the Uyghur population. It's important to demonstrate global disapproval and hold countries accountable for their actions. We can't just turn a blind eye to human rights abuses, can we? That's all for today's news, folks. Remember, these stories highlight the challenges and complexities of our world. It's up to us to stay informed, engage in discussions, and come up with creative solutions. So, what are your thoughts? I'd love to hear from you. What do you make of these developments? Share your ideas, and let's start a conversation. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the world from all 6 degrees. Dr. 6. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.